hoping the sound of, I don't know if it's an electric saw, doesn't come through too much. I thought I'd just record a quick update on my last couple of days, just to go over those. So on Saturday I went to see a friend who's needed some help. It was nice. I was able to kind of to go there and see them, and to be there for them, which was good. And I ended up catching a train. I haven't caught many trains in my time, so and I think the train station in my city is quite busy. It's quite a big station, quite busy. So when I went to get on my train, I got on the train and then realised it was the wrong one. It kind of slowly dawned on me. Some of the stops I didn't recognise, or some of the other stops I missed out. And I'm not really that experienced at catching trains, so I just assumed the train on that platform, would be that train. It was roughly that time of my train, and what I didn't realise is that I think some of the trains were delayed, so the train I got on was actually a train that was probably running late from a previous time. So there was a moment of panic on there. I was thinking, okay, what do I do? Then I noticed a couple of stops that I recognised, that I thought, oh, that's where, the train I was supposed to get, it goes past here as well. So I managed to get off at one of those stops. Then there was about a half an hour delay. That's how my train was running, so kind of just waiting maybe 40 minutes or so at the stop, which was okay. I find I cope okay with waiting for stuff. I don't tend to get too impatient or worked up about that. And I managed to get there, and it was a really nice sort of day, being somewhere else, being away from my normal surroundings. I thought that was quite nice, and able to kind of try and be there for somebody else. I felt grateful. I had the energy and strength to try and do that. And on the way back, I was waiting for the train to come back, and at that platform there was just there are a few people there that just it was a bit difficult for me to be there. I think there was a mother, and I don't know if it was her children or not, but maybe they were like teenagers, and there was one sort of younger boy, and I think the teenagers were getting the younger boy to kind of do dares. Like, it was just I found it a bit disturbing. It was like, to show his private parts, dare him to do that, and I can tell he was quite young, and obviously didn't know what he was doing. I got a sense he knew it was wrong, or knew it wasn't appropriate, just the whole energy there was not nice. And then I think they were daring him to touch or to do something to me, and so like he had 3 or 4 times we got close, and he put his hand out and touched my knee and sort of ran back to them, and they laughed. And when I looked over at them to say, is this really what's happening right now? And I think the younger sort of one of the teenagers just were laughing, and they were kind of half looking at me and just laughing, knowing of course what they were doing. And part of me wanted just to keep staring at them, like, is this the level of sort of human behaviour we're doing right now? And and also, are you really like taking advantage of of your younger brother, getting him to do all these things? And I think they were calling him Four Eyes and stuff, and unfortunately I didn't have the ability to say anything, and I got a good sense also that it would have been like lighter fluid if I did say anything, and I think I just didn't, I just accepted I didn't have the strength or the wellness to kind of have a confrontation, and yeah, so it was a difficult energy, and maybe because of my symptoms, the way I'm feeling, my sense of health, where it was a lot more for me to deal with that energy. Even it happened Saturday night. I came up, I was just thinking about them today. I could see the teenagers, sort of hands sort of covering, and they're just like, I think she looked at me briefly, then just started laughing like that, and I could almost see her expression in my face, and kind of ruminating about that at the moment. Yeah, of course I wanted to say something, but I could sense with their energy, and at one point they all kind of left. I think one of the teenagers came back saying somebody's selling marijuana somewhere, and they had these huge amount of shopping bags, and they kind of left the bench. I was sitting, it was a long bench, I was sitting a bit further down, and they all left to go and do whatever they did, and so the bench was empty. There was just their bags on the front, the rest of the bench was empty. Then two people sat down, and then when they came back, they it sounded just with a tone of voice, and they say, can you please get out of our seats, or we were sitting there, can you please move? And there was like a tension there, and they ended up sitting next to me, which was I was grateful for the buffer, but and I'm also grateful that they didn't do anything to the two people sitting next to me, and when the train came, I made sure to get on a separate carriage than them. I didn't want to be anywhere near that energy. So so I'm just sort of dealing with I don't know what you'd call it really, but I could see the image of that person sort of laughing and hiding their face, and maybe sort of hiding themselves, looking at me, probably seeing, I guess there's some enjoyment to see the reaction of somebody being made uncomfortable, and they wanted to see that. But, I just felt sorry for the younger sibling, if it was them. I know it's often in brothers and sisters, there's always that stuff happens, name calling and things, but it's just hard to see. So it's quite a long day on Saturday. It's quite a lot of walking. Walked to the station and walked around with my friend as well. And yesterday I kind of took it as a rest day. Sort of stayed here pretty much all. I don't think I went out yesterday. My body was feeling quite tired, and I've been meaning to cook for the last several days or more. So I just kind of in the afternoon, I rested in the morning. I watched a little bit of a show, watching Virgin River at the moment. It's kind of a really lightish show, and I'm going to probably I may do a recording on the other channel that I've started, which I'll put a link in the description. The channel where I'll start talking about some TV shows I'm doing, a second a bit more. But yeah, I managed to do some cooking, which was really good. That seemed to be taking up the day. I did have the intention to record yesterday as well, like to record a vlog or a podcast episode, but I think after the cooking I was exhausted. So, but I did enjoy it. I gave time to do the cooking. It wasn't like I was rushing. I've got like an hour to do this, and I've got to go somewhere. It was nice where I was able to just pull on a podcast, and slowly it was in the afternoon as well, which was a good time, because sometimes when you're cooking because you're hungry, it can be a bit stressful to do. So I did the cooking. I haven't really been sleeping great for the last few nights. I've been waking up, and last night I went to bed not too late. I went to bed close to 11, but I think because I was watching sort of YouTube videos last night, and I think it just amped my energy up, and so I think I've only done that once, where I literally just had a free sort of the half an hour before. I didn't do any electronics, or just so maybe I need to do that, get in a routine or habit of doing that before bed, of not just going from the laptop to bed sort of thing, where it's something I need to keep in mind. So I can try and do that tonight. So I woke up feeling quite tired today, and trying to figure out what to do. So I've managed to kind of get up and take a shower, and just made myself some coffee to have. So often I've been fasting and doing an intermittent fast in the morning and just having a coffee. So I thought about going to the library to write today, but as I was making the coffee and ruminating about what happened on Saturday night, and also just feeling tired, and I'm just thinking it's probably not worth me, or I don't think I'll be able to write. I think I've tried before when I'm feeling like this, and it just hasn't really worked. So, and I don't really want to. I don't think I've got the strength to push myself to do that. I also recorded a podcast episode this morning as well, which was, I think that tired me out doing that, because I wasn't really wanting to. I was feeling a bit tired, and but I didn't pull out an episode on Friday, so I was aware of that, and yeah, I kind of wanted to try and upload that today. So yeah, that's something I totally forgot about. So that added to. So I feel like I just need a bit of a rest now. The library opens at 1 o'clock, so I was just planning my day before, and now I'm just going to go there to return a book, and a book that it was the same book actually that this one. It's the same one I mentioned last week. I think I stopped reading midway through. I was going to return. So I think there's a book that it's connected to a book about it's a tattooist of Auschwitz. I don't know if it's Heather Morris, I think, her author name. There's another story from that time, so maybe that'll be something to read. It'll be something I can connect to and read, perhaps. I'm still in limbo about reading at the moment. Don't know where I am with it, but maybe it'll be healthy to get something that's piqued my interest in terms of reading. Of reading that book. So yeah, I think I'll go out to the library and see if that book's available, return this book, and I think I'll try and have some lunch before I go, or at least definitely when I get back. And I think the rest of the afternoon, just try and take it as I go, really. Basically just try and rest, and maybe I'll try and watch some things and potentially record some more content for the other channel, which I'll quickly talk about now. So it's funny because I was trying to figure out what to name it, and it seemed I was getting obsessive over it because I wanted something that I was not something that I wanted some flashy name, but just something I felt okay with, and ended up calling it Therapeutic Discussions, which I'm not completely set on. I like that it's linked to this in the therapeutic way, where it's not meant to be like high quality content and thorough reviews and all of that. It's just meant to be a general relaxed kind of discussion about what I've watched. So I've uploaded a couple of new, I've got one video I've uploaded there, and I've got one I've scheduled for this week. So I may record perhaps some more today. I'll see how I feel. I'm still not sure how I feel about doing it. It feels like all of this, even doing these vlogs, it feels like I'm still kind of coming to terms with doing this. I'm not sure. I haven't really stopped to really analyse it too much of how I've come across, or how everything is. Sometimes you can just do stuff and just not really know how it looks or what you've done until you kind of pull back and look at all of the stuff. So I'm just kind of maybe it's good for me not to do that. But so perhaps a day of just listening to my body and mind, which feels very tired, and since maybe the mind is a bit stressed and at unease, and it's funny because I've got all of those other symptoms as well. Like it feels like sometimes if I didn't mention them, like I almost forget myself. What am I trying to say here? It's almost I almost invalidate my challenges sometimes with not acknowledging that. Sometimes I forget that I'm dealing with these symptoms. It's just a cognitive sort of dysfunction, or slowing down, or cloudy thinking, foggy thinking. Like even now, even doing these vlogs, talking, it's part of it where I'm not able to really express myself as clear, near as clear as I want it to be, and like the fluidity and from thoughts to speech to it feels like there's like a slowing down, and it's the result of it is my speech in that way, coming out in a sort of jumbled way. So maybe there's a bit of self-compassion about just how I'm feeling today and what my limits are. It's almost, I think there's a sense of validation needed, I think, because I keep feeling that I'm some kind of fraud, or I'm failing in life. Maybe there's that thought of failing in life, and my standards are up here for when I do things, so it always feels like I'm against it, and I have to almost remind myself why I'm not able to do what part of my mind wants me to do. I have to kind of, it almost ignores all of the challenges I'm dealing with at the moment, and and then of course that doesn't make sense to the mind. It's like, why aren't you doing all of this stuff? You've got to get going, start doing. It feels like it's a big cycle of this, I think, of almost making sure that I'm remembering my limits or my challenges, so to not be too hard on myself. And also I feel self-conscious as well of other people judging me, of what I'm doing or not doing in my life, and I feel very, I know this is coming out all in a jumbled way now, but I'm just going to roll with it. I feel like people will look at me and think, oh, he doesn't seem that bad, does he? And just my facial expressions, and so I'm just aware of that, and I almost feel like I need a voice, an inner voice saying, reminding me or putting it in a really clear way of the really severe difficulties that I'm going through, and that one does go through with dealing with mental health. It feels like I constantly need that. I've got a Twitter for this therapeutic space channel, and I may even alter that to include therapeutic discussions as well, but I followed, I don't really interact with Twitter much, but I use it more just for healthy things, I guess, or things that can aid me. So on my current feed of following a couple of ASMR artists, and I'm following as a person who specialises in self-compassion, Kristen Neff, I think her name is, and I'm also following the holistic psychologist, I think their name is, and they post quite regular, or the holistic psychologist content is quite regular sometimes, so sometimes it's a lot to kind of look at all of the stuff posted, but it's helpful. I get some validation from the posts of just difficulties and remembering and being kind to myself, and really not just thinking about I've got a difficult time, but just being able to connect and feel that, because it's almost like a bit of a relief that I can rest, sort of think, okay, I don't have to hold these thoughts about being I should be doing more and stuff like that. Allows me to see things of how they are. So there's a bit of a jumble there of stuff, but so main thing I want to, it's nice to share about the therapeutic discussions channel and see where that goes. Maybe I'll just not think about it too much and just see where it leads me, and just take it one step at a time. Like today, for example, I've got a feeling I would like to watch and record stuff today. Maybe if I finish watching the season of Virgin River, maybe I'll record a video about that, about this latest season, talk about that maybe. Or there's a movie on Netflix called The Rainmaker that I haven't seen. I think as a child I just looked at it and thought, that looks boring to me. This is probably more of a mature film than when I first came across it, so that seems like a cool movie to watch and talk about. So that's my day. So coffee's probably lukewarm now, so I don't mind, it's okay. But I wanted to record this first before sitting down and just relaxing for a bit before I head out to the library, so it's good to check in.